Since the culmination of the 2008 World Championship, we immediately started saying goodbye to key parts of those memories. The memories will never be taken away from the city and their fans, but one by one, the players in a Phillies uniform as we knew them will. And today, we say goodbye once again. It's been a busy day for the Phillies, their organization, and for Jorge Alfaro. There he is, signing some autographs before his first appearance in a Phillies uniform up from AA for at least one game. Why is he here? Well, we'll talk about that in just a moment as the Phils get sent for Game 1 of this three-game series against the New York Mets. So this is the reason why Alfaro is here. If you haven't heard yet, and I'm sure you have, Carlos Ruiz has been traded to the Los Angeles Dodgers. A.J. Ellis came over from the Dodgers along with a minor league pitcher who has local ties. Ellis will arrive tomorrow, so Jorge Alfaro, at least for today, will be in the Phillies dugout and will be the backup catcher to Cameron Rupp. Hi, everybody. I'm Tom McCarthy along with Ben Davis. Well, it's down to one. Ryan Howard is the last piece to the 2008 World Championship player-wise for the Philadelphia Phillies. And yesterday, probably the most popular Philly, Carlos Ruiz, after 17 years in the organization, 8 opening days with the Philadelphia Phillies, was traded to the Dodgers. We've gotten to know him so well over the last handful of years. He is such a great guy. I'll remember his smile, I'll remember his handshake, and I'll remember the fact that he's always asking us how we're doing. Give me a word that you can attribute to Carlos Ruiz.
Class. That's the first word that comes to my mind when you think of Chooch. I think Chooch and the word class are synonymous. He meant so much to this organization, so much to this era of Phillies baseball. He will be missed, but he has a very good opportunity in Los Angeles.
Well, he was a converted second baseman. Think about that, a converted second baseman. He turned himself into one of the best catchers in the National League. Of course, he was part of the 2008 World Championship. He caught the last out. He came through the Phillies system, was an all-star in 2012. He caught 4 no-hitters. 4 no-hitters. Jason Varitek's the only other guy that did that. And here are some of the highlights that represent the career of Carlos Ruiz of the Phillies.
Yeah, this is not the farthest ball you ever hit, but it was very significant. Able to get the game winner right there. It would go down as one of the best hits of all time in Phillies history.
Well, one of the best hits, one of the best moments, and obviously this could be one of the greatest moments in Phillies history. What did he say to Brad Lidge? He said, "Give me the good one," meaning give me the good slider. He certainly did to get Eric Kinski. Look at this pitch, and Ruiz, the first one to embrace Brad Lidge after they clinched the World Championship. It was one of the greatest nights you will ever see in Philadelphia.
Yes, it was. And as we move on to the NLDS first game, this no-hitter by Roy Halladay. This play, in my opinion, gets overlooked more than any play that he's had. That was a very, very difficult play, and Chooch made it look easy.
Not only because it was the last out, but also because it was rolling up the bat, and he had to stop it before he made that throw. So here are the particulars. 4th in games caught for the Phillies, 1,069, 266 career average, 8 opening days, and oh yeah, 5 division championships, 2 National League pennants, a world championship, and again, as we mentioned, a world-class guy. We could not be happier that he has a chance to move on and possibly get to another World Series with the Los Angeles Dodgers. So goodbye to Carlos Ruiz, but there is baseball again tonight. Adam Morgan on the mound, his 15th start in the big leagues. Bartolo Colon, his 26th. When we return, we'll get you ready for tonight's ball game between the Phils and the Mets. Phillies baseball is brought to you by Xfinity. Xfinity X1 will change the way you experience TV. By Toyota, the annual clearance sale is going on now. Toyota, let's go places. By Citizens Bank. The next time you have a question about money, don't keep it to yourself. Ask a citizen. By Coca-Cola, the official soft drink of the Phils. And by Independence Blue Cross. Live fearless. Learn more at IBX.com. is ever changing, and manager Pete Mackanin is the guy that's in charge of making sure that everything blends together. He obviously has known Carlos Ruiz for a long time. Greg Murphy earlier got a chance to sit down with the skipper of the Phils.
All right, Tom, thank you very much. Ale here with Pete Mackanin, and for the better part of 7 years, you spent some time with Carlos Ruiz. I know you got a chance to say goodbye to him yesterday, but just if you can give us just an overall picture of what he meant to this franchise.
Well, you know what? I scouted him in 2008, and I wrote him up as a pretty ordinary catcher. I didn't have him graded that highly. He was okay. And then I met him in 2009 as a coach for the Phillies and got to see him on a daily basis. And, boy, what a mistake I made there. Over the course of that time, 09, 10, 11, and 12 that I spent here, and into these last 2 years, he's really impressed me more than in a number of ways, as his skills as a defensive catcher, his hitting ability, and his genuine attitude as a person. I love the guy. I'm going to miss him.
The importance of a guy in the clubhouse maybe gets overblown sometimes, but when you talk to virtually every person that's played with Carlos Ruiz, that's one of the first things they mention.
Well, you know, he is a true leader, not by being vocal, but he has a knack for setting an example to everybody. He takes his job so seriously. I've never once seen him mad because he didn't hit. I've seen him mad a lot because he might have called for the wrong pitch and a pitcher got hit or he gave up a home run. And he's just one of my all-time favorites, and I hate to see him go.
Well, Pete Mackanin is not alone in that assessment about hating to see Carlos Ruiz go. I think a lot of people felt that way, but it was Carlos's choice. Matt Klentak said that he met with Carlos, said, if I have a spot for you to go to maybe get to the postseason, would you go? Carlos thought about it for a few days and decided that it was the best thing for himself and also for the Phils organization. Let's take a look at the Phils starting lineup for tonight's ball game. It's brought to you by Xfinity. Xfinity X1 will change the way you experience TV. So Cesar leads it off at second. Instead of Odubel Herrera batting second, it's going to be Aaron Altair. So that means Odubel drops to the number 6 spot. Adam Morgan is pitching tonight, and Peter Borges will bat in front of him, and they will face the right-hander Bartolo Colon, and Colon will have to deal with Ryan Howard, who has 46 career home runs against the New York Mets. But Colon has been very good against the Phillies, not only this year, but since he put a Mets uniform on. 11-7 overall this season, and the first pitch of the night is lifted in the air to straightaway center field, and Ruggiano will casually go back. One pitch, one away here in the first inning.
Take a look at the scouting report for Bartolo. He'll sit about 88 miles an hour. Change, cutter, slider. Well, throw those out the window. Career versus Philadelphia, 9-5 with a 3.31 ERA. I say throw those out the window because 88.9% of the time, Tom, he's throwing a heater.
Well, and you look at his numbers since he put a Mets uniform on against the Phillies, 8-3 with a 2.78 ERA. First pitch to Aaron Altair is in there, and it's 0-1. Altair overall hitting .255 with 4 home runs, 18 runs batted in. 1 ball and 1 strike. The Lucky McDonald's Phillies home run jackpot contestant is Catherine Rischel of Pine Forge. Phillies hit a home run in today's ball game. Catherine will win $100. McDonald's Mix and Match at 82 for just $2.50 on McDonald's Pick 2 menu. And Bartolo Colon, I know that ball wasn't hit that sharply, but he was in great position to make that play.
Yes, he was. He does field his position well, but first of all, I say good luck, Catherine. Bartolo, he still is, I mean, he's a bigger guy, but pretty agile out there on the mound. Makes a nice play there.
Listed at 285 pounds. And he will now face Maikel Franco. Franco swings at the first pitch. So this is going to turn out to be an easy inning for Bartolo Colon. Neil Walker is under it. It's a 5-pitch inning. And just like that, in a blink of an eye, we are through the top half of the first inning. On to the bottom of the first. Phillies nothing. Mets coming up. talking about his starting pitching. He didn't really touch on his offense, but we'll give you a glimpse of the starting lineup for the Mets, brought to you by Xfinity. Xfinity X1 will change the way you experience TV. Jose Reyes has been good for the Mets since coming off the disabled list especially, and he leads things off. They put Walker behind Cespedes because of all the home runs, and Cespedes, well, he's been hot as well. Ruggiano starts at center field for Granderson because Granderson is struggling. And, of course, Bartolo Colon wraps up that lineup to face Adam Morgan. Morgan coming off a 6-inning appearance in his last start. They hope he's as good tonight as he was in his last outing. And his first pitch to Reyes is in there for a strike. It's 0-1. Adam Morgan is 1-7 overall in the big leagues. You saw a 6.21 ERA. 1-1 to Reyes.
A scouting report on Adam. Said about 91. Change curve slider. The slider, second most effective pitch for him, but I'd like to see the pitches per inning come down. He's sitting at 17.3 currently, so even if you get that down around 14, 15, I'd take that.
Well, he's hoping to build on what he did in his last outing. He got a no decision, left with the lead after 6 innings, but also build on what he did in AAA after the All-Star break. As Reyes hits it in the air to left center field, that's well hit. Herrera on the run into the alleyway toward the fence, and it is gone. A leadoff home run for Jose Reyes, and the Mets take a 1-0 lead here in the bottom of the first.
You said it, Tom. He's been hot since the All-Star break, especially coming off the disabled list. It's a heck of a way to start a ball game if you're the Mets. He goes down and gets it to 90-mile-an-hour fastball, and it's center cut, and Reyes does not miss it.
Well, that is his 25th first-inning home run. His 4th home run this year. And here is his Drupal Cabrera. And Cabrera swings at the first pitch, and he lifts it to the opposite way. Borges going back toward the fence, and it's gone. Back-to-back home runs for Reyes and Cabrera. It's 2-0 New York.
Boy, did that one have some giddy up on it.
Well, both of the balls that have been hit, they obviously are traveling tonight. Ryan Howard goes in immediately to talk to Adam Morgan and brings Cameron Rupp out as well. Can't say too much. He hasn't had a chance to establish the changeup yet.
Just 4 pitches in thus far. But another ball that up out over the middle part of the plate. Cabrera does not miss it.
So Reyes and Cabrera go back-to-back. It's 2-0, and now it'll bring Cespedes to the plate, and he takes inside. That is only the second time the Mets have begun a ball game with back-to-back home runs in the first inning. I find that hard to believe.
Especially for such a franchise that's been around for so long. You think at the top of the lineup, though, you're going to have your faster guys, your speedy guys, not really known for their extra base hits.
1-2 to Cespedes. Cespedes 3 for 12 in the series against the Cardinals that just finished up. He hit .320 on the road trip. Takes outside, 2-2. The only other career start Morgan's had against the Mets, which is kind of hard to believe considering how much he pitched last year, came last season, and he lasted just 3 2/3. That ball is rocketed into left center field, a base hit. So 3 straight hits for the Mets to start this ball game. Time now for our Nissan keys to the game. You want to change anything on those, Ben?
Well, no, and it's actually one of the keys, and I'll start with the second key first, and that Morgan needs to establish inside on righties, which I haven't seen yet, and he needs to go down and away with that changeup. Changeup last game was very good, and offense, you know what you're getting. Whether you decide to get yourself out or not, that's up to you.
Well, speaking of the changeup, so this is the last start. He threw the changeup 26% of the time, 7% higher than his previous 13 major league starts. that's what they'd like to see. Pete Mackanin was very excited to see that graphic today because that's what he had hoped Morgan would do last time. And he said that he hopes Morgan realizes the success he had throwing the changeup so much.
And it had a lot of life in that last outing.
Here is Neil Walker just off paternity leave. Walker and his wife welcomed a baby girl a couple days ago. Overall hitting .278 with 22 home runs, 54 runs batted in. To the right side, Cesar Hernandez is just going to get the one base runner at first. So Cespedes goes up to second. And Wilmer Flores playing first base tonight will be the batter with a runner in scoring position.
He has filled in admirably. It really has.
Now, Terry Collins has had a lot of injuries to deal with, like a lot of managers, and the fact that he can move Flores around the infield tonight, he's playing first, has helped him. Takes a fastball low, 1-0. 13 home runs this year. Last year he had 16 home runs. Playing first base tonight because of his .344 average against left-handers. One ball, one strike to Flores. Cespedes not a big lead off second base.
What I love about Adam Morgan is the fact that he never changes his demeanor out there. Nothing seems to rattle him. Yes, he's not off to a favorable start this evening, but he has not let it affect him.
Down the right field line, that'll slice out of play, and it's 1-2.
Not a whole lot of foul territory down there, so you'll see Aaron and Peter down the left field line and right field line respectively make sure that they get over to get to a ball.
Angel Hernandez is behind home plate. Ted Barrett's the crew chief. He's out at second base. Lance Barksdale over at third. This is a veteran umpire crew. Tried to check his swing, but Angel Hernandez says he went around, and there are 2 outs. First strikeout for Morgan, and that'll bring Jay Bruce to the plate.
You never want to give up runs, especially in the first inning, but for the way this ball game has started out, 2 home runs, then Cespedes hits a liner up the middle. You're thinking, you hope you can nip this in the bud. If you can get out of this with just the 2 runs, be okay with that. Settle down from there.
Yeah, still plenty of time for an offense that only saw 5 pitches in the first inning. Jay Bruce acquired from the Cincinnati Reds by the New York Mets. Comes in with 86 RBIs. Now only 6 of those RBIs have come since he's been traded. He was leading the league in RBIs when the Mets picked him up. They gave up a couple good prospects for him. He's been bothered by a sore calf. He fouled a ball off his calf in the Giants series out in San Francisco. So he's missed a couple of games because of that. But after treatment, he felt like he could go today. Swing at a foul tip, and Morgan picks up another strikeout. So after the Mets go back-to-back with home runs from Reyes and Cabrera, Adam Morgan's able to settle in. This one to left center field for Jose Reyes, the 23rd leadoff home run of his career. And for just the 2nd time in franchise history, the Mets go back-to-back to start a ball game. They lead it 2-0 as we go to the 2nd. Top of the second inning, Ryan Howard leads it off against Bartolo Colon. Howard has 6 hits lifetime against Colon. And Colon starts him off with a pitch out of the strike zone. 1 ball, no strikes. Howard with 3 home runs out of those 6 hits. And he fouls it away over the third base dugout. Ryan with 19 home runs, 43 runs batted in, hitting 199, trying to get over that 200 mark. Swing and a miss, 2-2. Well, not a surprise. That was a 91-mile-an-hour fastball. Most of the time, he's going to throw fastballs.
Yes.
He's just going to change the speed of the fastball.
And that's why I think that 4.2% of the time that we have in our numbers, they say that's a changeup. I think he's just changing up on his fastball.
I also think that with the cutter. Now, the cutter's only listed at like 1%, but I think it's more of a fastball than anything else. To the right side and a foul ball. Colon during his career, though, 229 wins and 161 losses, a lifetime ERA of 3.94. You compare his last 5 years. He is 68-48 with a 3.67 ERA. His previous 5 years, he was 22-31 with an ERA of 4.72. The difference? Well, obviously he's a big guy, but physically he's better. And the other part of it, they say, is that he finally realized that he's not going to throw 95, 96 anymore. Opposite way for Howard.
It's just remarkable what he can do. I wouldn't be surprised if he signs a 3-year deal at the end of the season.
Well, he is the active leader in wins, 7 more than Sabathia. Can't imagine his arm will be an issue. I think if anything, what will stop him from pitching next year or the year after is just if there's some other physical ailment that he comes down with. Now that's a changeup, it looked like. And it's ball 4, so Howard draws a walk.
Nice at bat by a big piece.
Leadoff base runners aboard. Cameron Rupp is coming up. This Monday, the Phillies and the Nationals will kick off a 3-game series. It's Jewish Heritage Night at Citizens Bank Park. All 3 games are at 7:05 this week. Tickets can be purchased anytime by going to Phillies.com. Nationals, yes, they are running away with the East, being led by potential MVP Daniel Murphy. Cameron Rupp is now the hitter with a runner at first. And Rupp takes a strike, and it's 0-1. I asked Cam today, I said, all right, so give me, I know you only have 14 at-bats against Bartolo Colon, but give me your approach. He said, well, everybody knows I don't like pitches in. I like them out over the plate toward the outer edge. He said, that's where I'm looking. He said, the problem with Colon is just what you're seeing. He can pinpoint his accuracy at any point in the count.
Yep.
Cameron said he hasn't seen a guy that has that kind of command in recent years.
But he trusts that.
Right.
He trusts it. He believes it's going to go where he wants it to go. Yes, he's accurate. But you can see that he's out there. I know if I put this pitch, they know what's coming. Everybody in the stadium knows what's coming. But he knows if he puts that particular pitch in that particular spot, the batter is going to be out.
What Cameron said, and this is true, I mean, I think we've all seen it. He said, I trust myself now that if he gives me something toward the outer edge of the plate, that I can get it and I can drive it the other way. And just as we said, Bartolo will throw strikes 67.8% of the time. The ball's in the strike zone. And there it is again. A little up, but a strike according to Angel Hernandez. And the first out of the inning is a strikeout looking. One away, and Odubel Herrera's coming up.
I think Cam does think it is up, but well, that ball had some run on it.
Well, that was the other part of it, too. He said that everything he does throw has movement. Odubel Herrera is the hitter. 1 for 5 in the series against the White Sox. He played in just the one game. Bunts toward the on-deck circle, and it's 0-1. Since Odubel was dropped from the leadoff spot, he's hitting .283. He hasn't been the same consistent hitter that we saw in the first half of the year. Softly to the left side, Reyes charges and throws out Herrera at first. 2 outs. Howard goes up to second base.
The problem that hitters run into against Cologne is you know what you're getting, and therefore it's almost like you have that advantage, but you don't, because you think, well, I know what's coming, I'm going to make it happen right here and now. And if it's not in that spot, you're going to end up being out in front, because I think if you know what's coming, most of the times you're going to want to run at the ball. It's going to be early.
With a runner in scoring position, Freddie Galvis, the hitter. Galvis 5 for 22 against Cologne during his career. Swing and a miss, 0-1. Freddie hitting .233 with 13 home runs and 52 runs batted in.
Good swing.
Freddie has another one of those streaks going defensively. He's up to 29 consecutive games without an error. Thought he played a great shortstop in the series against the White Sox. He is second only to Jordy Mercer in fielding percentage among shortstops in the National League. Upstairs, 1-2.
Yeah, it's funny. I asked Freddie, I said, it's a pretty nice infield there in Chicago, huh? And he said, it's beautiful. He said, the problem is Tim Anderson made a lot of divots out there. He said, I kept having to go out there and smooth them over. He said, he goes, I don't know what he was doing out there.
He might have just been fidgety. I didn't see that. Swing and a miss. A fastball that ran out of the strike zone. Second strikeout of the inning for Cologne. So no runs, no hits. One man left in scoring position. That was Ryan Howard. We'll move to the bottom of the second here at Citi Field. Protect them with Independence Blue Cross. They're part of a national system of Blue Cross and Blue Shield plans that cover more than 100 million members across the country. Live fearless. Learn more at ibx.com/biz. 2-0 Mets on top. We move to the bottom of the second. And Justin Ruggiano will lead it off. It'll be Ruggiano, Travis d'Arnaud, Bartolo Colon against Adam Morgan. Ruggiano hitting .364 as a member of the Mets. One of his home runs was a grand slam to center field against Madison Bumgarner in the Giants series. Gave the Mets a 4-0 lead in one of the games, but it didn't last because Bumgarner hit a 2-run home run to give the Giants the lead. In the next half inning, way out front, 0-2.
There's that changeup. Beautiful pitch. Talk about finish on a pitch. That was it. They got there and then just disappeared.
And there it is again. 3 straight strikeouts for Adam Morgan. What a way Travis d'Arnaud's coming up. So 2 solo home runs, Murph, for the Mets to start the ball game. Second time in franchise history that's happened. But solo home runs, like the Phillies, are something the Mets do quite often.
Yeah, Tom, I would imagine the Mets will take those 2 solo home runs to get them off to a 2-0 lead in this game. But that has been kind of a recurring theme for the New York Mets this year. They are hitting home runs in bunches. In fact, they have 81 home runs at home already this year. That's 4 off the Citi Field record. They have 167 total, but 101 of them are solo home runs. That counts the 2 in this game. That is almost 61% of their home runs are of the solo home run variety. You see Cespedes and Walker, their percentage not too bad. About half of their home runs are solo shots. But you look at Granderson. He has 20 home runs this season. 18 of them without guys on base. That is over 90% of his home runs with guys not on base. And, you know, when you're trying to score runs in bunches, you know, the 2-run, the 3-run, the grand slams certainly do help. But we've seen that around baseball. We talked about it with the Phillies this year. A lot of solo home runs. But certainly the Mets are amongst the leaders in the National League in that category. They're scoring on 1 at a time, guys.
1 at a time. They have 165 for the season. 3rd most.
That is, it's that number that Murph just threw out there, 20 for Granderson,
yeah.
18. I mean, what are the odds of doing that?
He's 34 RBIs.
It's hard to do when you think about it, Ben. You're right. You know, the guys, they're just not getting on in front of him, or you know, he's just not coming through with runners in scoring position. It's probably a combination of the both. But you're right. When you think about 90% of your home runs come without guys on base, I would think that if you tried the probability on that, it would be very, very difficult.
Exactly.
3-2 pitch is fouled by d'Arnaud. Well, Granderson is not playing tonight because the lefty on the mound, and let's face it, he really has struggled. There he is. They have 1 more year left on his contract. Sandy Alderson, the general manager of the Mets, said today, he was asked, are you concerned? He said, well, short term, yes. Long term, no, I'm not. Just a bit outside, and d'Arnaud draws a walk. J.P. Crawford and Nick Williams love to compete and win, whether against the opponents or against themselves. Marshall Harris talks with 2 of the team's top prospects about their friendship on and off the field. Watch Phillies Clubhouse Monday night at 11 right here on CSN. With 1 out here in the bottom of the second, Bartolo Colon, who is 3 for 44 on the season, will be the hitter. He does have a couple sacrifices. No balls at 2 strikes to Colon. Well, they do like everything he does here at Citi Field.
Let it eat. I don't get him, though. Sometimes he'll take a swing like that, and other times he'll go up there and just take 3 strikes and walk back to the bench. I don't know about you, Tom, but I thought he was right on that last one.
Very close. Very close.
And the fans love it. Look, they're applauding for him.
Well, Reyes was certainly on this pitch to start the bottom of the first inning.
Yes, he was, and the heck of a play by that fan, but Reyes went down and got it and drove it out to left field. You were right, though. That didn't sound that good off the bat. Cabrera's did, but that one kind of sounded mushy.
Reyes takes the first pitch strike. It's 0-1. Reyes, with that home run, has now moved into sole possession of 4th place in franchise history in extra base hits for the Mets. I'm not sure why this surprised me, but he now has 1,937 hits. Does that surprise you that he has that many hits?
No.
I mean, he was very good for a long time.
In his prime, he was as dynamic a player as there was in all of baseball. He could literally beat you 5 different ways by himself.
Well, there's a pretty good chance he's going to be their second baseman next year. Now, they're not optimistic that David Wright's going to help this year. They're hoping maybe that next year, but that's still a question mark. But they're probably going to move him over to second base because Walker's a free agent after this season. 1-2. Runner goes. Pitch is swung on and missed. 5 strikeouts for Adam Morgan. Well, after those 2 home runs, Adam Morgan has kind of found something. Let's hope it continues. We'll head to the 3rd. Phil's looking for a little offense for the bottom of the order. Log on to Phillies.com. Go to the fans section for all the information, and please submit your answer on the subject line.
Tom Seaver.
All right, Ben. Which Phillies pitcher did Noah Syndergaard hit his first major league home run off? Back in 2015. The answer will be revealed a little later on. Now,
was that the one he hit here?
That was a loud home run.
Yes.
Went right over the city sign in center. It was a loud home run. Peter Borges will lead it off against Bartolo Colon. Overall hitting .251 with 4 home runs, 20 runs batted in. 1 ball and no strikes. To the right side. And Flores will try to beat him to the bag and does.
I don't think Bartolo was going to get there.
I think Flores realized after he grabbed it that it was his and his only.
Yes. I would have liked to have seen him just slide into the first base bag. Bartolo taking a breather.
It was a long trek over there, big boy.
It was, especially after the 2 warm-up pitches he threw in between innings.
Is that all he threw?
Yeah.
Now Morgan takes low.
Darno was obviously on base to end that bottom of the second. Rene Rivera, the backup catcher, came out to warm him up, and he just sat and talked to Angel Hernandez the whole time. And Colon just sat out in the mound and flipped the ball up a few times.
Why spend any extra energy?
There's no need, Tom.
Morgan waves at that one, and it's 1-2. And a strike 3 call. So Adams down looking. 2 outs. Back to the top of the order. On the road traveling and want to watch your Phils? Subscribe to MLB.TV Premium for live or on-demand baseball on over 400 devices. Real-time highlights, live look-ins, pitch tracking, and more. Blackout and other restrictions apply. Visit MLB.TV for details. Two outs. Here's Cesar Hernandez, who swung at the first pitch he saw. Runs up, takes a strike, 0-1. Just talking to Cesar about his opposite field home run the other night. In fact, the guys were kidding him about it. I said, honestly, Cesar, I don't think any of us thought it was going out. And he laughed. And I said, Oppo, huh? And he said, every once in a while. He did think he got it, though. He thought he squared it up well. He just didn't think he thought more off the fence or over Melky Cabrera's head. He admitted he didn't think it was going to carry out over the ballpark, not over the wall.
We got on the plane. I said, "Que fuerza," and he goes, "You know it." This means, you know, what strength you have. He said, "You know it." Big smile on his face. It's amazing what timing can do.
Opposite way and right at Cespedes. Phil's still looking for their first hit. They go down in order for the second time tonight. We'll move to the bottom of the third. Still 2-0. Mets on top. Teammates were coming in fast and furious yesterday when the announcement of the trade. This was from Jamie Moyer. I talked to Jamie yesterday. He said Carlos not only was and is a good teammate, he learned how to become the leader he needed to be behind the plate running a pitching staff. As a teammate, he always had that Ruiz smile that we all have come to love. And from Cole Hamels, I thought this was outstanding from Cole. Cole said, Carlos was such an important part of my growth as a pitcher. His preparation and instinct as a catcher set him apart as one of the best, and I feel fortunate to have pitched with him while we were teammates in Philadelphia. His positive clubhouse personality was infectious, and he had great respect for the Phils organization and the fans. He will leave behind a legacy for the catchers that come up through the Phils system on how to play the Phillies way. I thought that was sincere and beyond thought-provoking from Cole Hamels, who then went out and threw 8 shutout innings for the Texas Rangers. But he's right.
He is.
As Drupal Cabrera leads it off. Little dribbler foul. It's 0-2.
I just think the way his approach to everything, the way he handled us, the fans, playing, his teammates, and that's why I said in the opening he did it with such class, professionalism, humility,
and appreciation of everything that he was given. Remember when he was suspended because of the PED use? I mean, he was obviously embarrassed like a lot of guys, but very forthcoming with that whole with the whole situation. 1 ball and 2 strikes to Cabrera. Over to third. Franco charges. He's got it. And he throws out Cabrera as Ryan Howard is able to hang on to that snow cone. And there's 1 out.
This ball does tail on Mike Hale just a bit. Ryan going after it, has to come back across the bag, but you're right. Did snow cone. We could see that from up here in the booth.
Yes, we could. There's Cespedes with 1 away. Cespedes singled his last time up. He rocketed 1 into left center field against Adam.
I'd like to see that pitch inside. Just opens up so many opportunities. 10 of his first 12 pitches have gone for first pitch strikes, which is great to see. Triple up in there. Who cares?
Try to go to the outer edge, and it's 2-2 with that off-speed pitch. Line drive, base hit up the middle. It knocks Adam Morgan right to his knees. That went buzzing right past his head. The ball is jumping off Cespedes' bat.
Sure is.
Watch how close this was. Whoa. Wow. I have to admit that's even closer than I thought it was watching it live.
It'll get your heart racing, that's for sure. I saw Matt Carpenter hit a line drive up the middle last night off Blevins for the Mets, and it was by him, and then he threw his hands up, and it was like, whoa, that was close.
Yeah, you could put yourself in every position possible to make a play as a pitcher. I don't think you're going to be able to make a play on something like that. Runner at first. Neil Walker's the batter. Walker went on paternity leave. As we mentioned, his wife gave birth to a daughter, Nora. Before that, he was banged up with a sore back. But before that, the 5 games before the injury, he was hitting .449 with 5 home runs. Talking about playing yourself into a contract. May not be with the Mets, but it'll be with somebody. Line drive, base hit to left, so Walker will move Cespedes up to second.
And this has been the biggest difference for him. Is his right-handed swing. All the power numbers the last couple of years, they've all been from the left side. But he's getting it going from the right side now. That makes him obviously a double threat here. You do have to keep an eye on Cespedes at second base.
Yeah, just as you said that, Morgan didn't even look back at him, but Cesar Hernandez was closer to the bag.
Very good base runner. Very smart.
Flores struck out his first time up. And now Morgan turns back. Remember, Adam Morgan has picked off 2 base runners and could have had a third on that particular play. Pretty good pitch. I think Cameron Rupp wanted that pitch.
Yeah.
Nito Hernandez has been giving that to the pitchers on both sides. Scooped up by Rupp, and it's 3-1. Well, just as we mentioned that Adam Morgan had kind of found something. He has run into a little bit of a problem here in the bottom of the third with 2 runners on and 1 man down. Nothing a ground ball double play wouldn't help.
Threaten me with a good time.
He does have that kind of repertoire where he can induce the ground ball double play. Over to third. There we go. Big hop for Maikel Franco, and across the diamond, a 5-3 double play.
Well done, Tom.
That's right. No runs, 2 hits, 1 man left, and he got the double play at the right time. We'll move to the 4th inning. Phillies trail it by 2. You buy Nissan. Shop ChooseNissan.com. Buy McDonald's. Mix and match any two for just $2.50 on the McDonald's McPick 2 menu. And buy your local Ford stores. A warm night here in Queens. The Phils and the Mets game 1 of this 3-game series. Last time these two teams faced each other was back on the 17th of July at Citizens Bank Park. Since that time, the Phillies have been the better team record-wise. As Altair takes a strike. Phillies are 16-18 since the last time these two teams faced each other. The Mets are 15-21. But the Mets are just 3.5 out of the wild card. Part of that is because they started 17-9, but they're 47-54 since. Terry Collins, though, is under a little bit of fire up here in New York, even after winning the National League pennant a season ago.
You and I were discussing that before the game, to have to go through what he's gone through and still be in the hunt. I mean, you're talking some major factors.
Well, if Colon gets an out here, he'll pass Syndergaard for the most innings pitched this year by a Mets starter. And I don't think anybody would have imagined that with a staff that included Syndergaard, DeGrom, Harvey, and then Matz, who's on the DL. We'll see Syndergaard tomorrow.
Slow and steady wins the race.
Altair grounded back to the pitcher his first time up. Lays off 2-2.
Slider there. I believe that was the first one.
Number 1. Mark it down. You may not see it again. Opposite way. Jay Bruce over toward the line. This summer's office blockbuster is here. Hahn's new Solve Chair. Your office's answer to versatility and customized comfort. Delivered to you for free on one of W.B. Mason's world famous trucks. Hahn and W.B. Mason, a pair of heavy hitters that truly deliver. Maikel Franco takes a fastball. Another one.
It is amazing how hitters give up on his pitches.
Pulled sharply toward the hole. Gathered by Cabrera. Made a nice sliding grab. Colon liked it. 2 outs.
Nice play.
Well, once he got to it, because it was hit so sharply, all he had to do was make an accurate throw, and he knew it, because Franco does not run all that well.
What shocked me about this is he spins opposite. He spins around to his right. Usually you see the infielder spin back towards their left. But good field presence here by Asdrubal Cabrera. Sets himself and makes a good throw.
Always good with the glove. Ryan Howard saw 9 pitches in his first at bat. So it's 0-1.
Looks like Eminem out there at shortstop. With his hair dyed.
0-2. I have to admit, I had to think who Eminem was that you were talking about.
It's just a Slim Shady reference there.
That's right. I did see him the other day. I don't know what I was watching, but I saw him. 0-2 pitch coming to Howard. Outside 1-2.
93.
Howard's the only base runner tonight. A second inning walk. And a line drive caught by Jose Reyes, who went leaping into the air and robbed Ryan Howard of the game's first hit for a Philly.
Boy, that's a good play. I didn't think he was going to get there, but I know one person who's very glad he did, and that's Ted Barrett, the second base umpire. Heat-seeking missile. I don't think Ted was going to get out of the way of that one. Nice play there by Reyes. Two good plays in the inning as we head to the bottom of the fourth.
Visit buyatoyota.com to find your RAV4 today. Toyota, let's go places. Let's go Phils. Last of the fourth inning. And Adam Morgan will face Jay Bruce, Justin Ruggiano, and Travis d'Arnaud. Two solo home runs in the first inning allowed by Adam Morgan, but since that time, he's allowed a few base runners. 3 hits and a walk. His command has been better, though, as Bruce fouls the first pitch back. Remember, the Phillies faced the Reds in the opening series of the season, and Jay Bruce, of course, was the right fielder for the Reds. And boy, did he get off to a good start. He had a couple home runs in that series. In fact, 10 for 22. With 2 home runs against the Phils here in 2016. Swing and a miss. But he has struck out twice tonight. He's hearing some boos here in New York.
Definitely a different atmosphere than playing in Cincinnati.
Oh, I would say so. I mentioned they gave up a lot for him, but they're worried that Cespedes is going to opt out of his deal, his 3-year deal at the end of the season, which, I mean, he'd be smart to do that based on the numbers he's putting up this year. Ruggiano, big swing and a miss, 0-1.
3 in a row he swung at. He's struck out his first at bat. Last 2 pitches were changeup he struck out on, and then he swings at that one.
And then he takes a fastball, or excuse me, a changeup, which was in a totally different spot. Swing and a miss. He got back-to-back strikeouts. He's gotten Ruggiano twice and Bruce twice in this ball game. Well, in between innings, we got our first glimpse of Jorge Alfaro getting a chance to warm up Adam Morgan. Alfaro just brought up from Double-A Reading, wearing number 38. Now, he may go down tomorrow, but Murphy was pretty excited about putting that Phillies uniform on for the first time here at Citi Fields.
He absolutely was. And you're probably right, Tom. I mean, we probably will not see Jorge Alfaro tonight. Pete Mackanin said, unless the game is lopsided one way or the other, chances are he's not going to be able to burn his backup catcher in a pinch hitting role. So we'll probably won't get a chance to see him make his debut. But you talk about being excited. You talk about getting a chance, just a taste of the big leagues. Jorge Alfaro is getting that taste. But I will say this, he was asked in the clubhouse before the game about that Reading team he's a part of. And he said, you know what? He's pretty excited about the chances to get into the postseason with that team. He smiled and he said that is a really, really good team down there, and I think we're going to have a lot of fun over the next couple of weeks. So he'll be here for a day or two, but he's anxious to get back to Reading and hopefully win a championship with that team as well.
It'll be great to see. That's what they want to do. They want to win championships all the way through the system. We'll head to the fifth. Phillies down 2-0. Nothing as the Phillies will bat against Bartolo Colon. Cameron Rupp will lead it off. He went down looking his first time up. The Mets have held the Phillies hitless so far tonight. Bartolo Colon has held the Phillies hitless tonight. Bouncing ball foul past Juan Samuel, and it's 0-1. I told Sammy that we talked about his anniversary of his Major League debut the other night on the air, and he had forgotten. He didn't realize it. And then all of a sudden he put the days together and he went, oh, right. I said, yeah, triple. He said, should have been an inside the park home run. 0-2. I said, well, what happened? He said, well, I had an inside the park home run, and the official score gave me a triple and said I scored on an error. I said, you couldn't appeal it, huh? He said, no, I wish I could. Bouncer back toward the middle, and Walker has it played perfectly. One away.
That's funny, though. 30 years later, he still holds a grudge.
Yeah. Here's Cameron Rupp's comments on Carlos Ruiz. It's part of our Geico quote of the day. Carlos was the everyday guy for more than 8 years. I'm sure it was hard. It can't be easy, but he never stopped helping me. There might be guys who wouldn't do something like that, but not him. I can't tell you how much he helped me. He's awesome. And, you know, Cameron was referencing the fact that he's taken over as the everyday catcher this year. And he's right. Carlos did not sulk.
No, he did not. Not once.
Jeff Manto, guy that you know, buddy of mine as well, managed Carlos in Lakewood at one point when Jeff was in the Phillies system. And he talked about his development, helping develop Gavin Floyd. He even said there was a point where Carlos was on the disabled list as the Phillies pick up their first hit of the night off the bat of Odubel Herrera. He's thinking about two. He hesitated for a moment, but gets into second with a head-first slide. And the Phils have a runner in scoring position with one man down.
Very efficient route around first base right there for a double. He was thinking 2 out of the box right away. It's a pitch down and away. Does not pull it. Laces it to left center. Bartolo claps his effort for his efforts.
Man, he's thinking that went 4 1/3 without allowing a hit. Freddie Galvis is up. He struck out his first time up. Out of play. Anyway, Jeffrey was talking about just the influence. Carlos was on the disabled list at one point and was probably ready to come off much earlier than he came off. And he said that he never complained about that, but he continued to be a positive influence, not only in the clubhouse, but he said in the development of Gavin Floyd, who was the number one pick for the Phillies at one point and was one of the main pieces in the farm system at that point.
And you can learn so much from veterans just for the simple fact of talking to them, picking their brain. Now, just because it's a veteran doesn't mean exactly what he does is going to work for you, because everybody has different talents, different skill levels. But you might be able to learn something from a veteran guy that maybe just helps you a little bit, tweaks just a little something to give you an advantage.
I guess that's what Cameron's talking about too, because that's important to have that influence. 1-1 of Freddie Galvis. Swing and a miss, 1-2. Well, Mick Billmeyer, who was such a great coach in the Phillies system, was up here with the big club for a long time. I talked to Mickey yesterday about Carlos, and this is what he had to say. Probably my all-time favorite Philly. Great teammate, great worker, and Mr. Clutch in the playoffs. Philadelphia will miss him. Now, he was the one who converted him from a second baseman to a catcher because of his hands. So he just had great hands. As Galvis fouls another one away. I mean, that to me as a coach, when you make that big of a move with somebody's life,
right,
has to be gratifying to see what Carlos meant to the Phillies organization.
Yeah, because that is a drastic move. It's not like moving from center field to left field or center field to right field.
Outside, 2-2. He wasn't biting that time. He struck out on a pitch that was even farther off the plate his last time. On the Toyota Major League scoreboard, Rockies and the Nationals are squaring off tonight. And it's tied at 2. Jason Worth. How about the year he's putting together all of a sudden? Not even all of a sudden, the last 2 months. $18 home runs now for Jason Worth.
Where am I going to throw this fastball?
I think he's going to throw it toward the outer edge again.
You see how far Freddie will chase it out there?
That's what he did last time. On the inside corner, it ran back. It's not often he works it inside to the left-handed hitters. But he picks his spots, and he picked one right there. 2 outs.
See, I think there's got to be a way that you can let Freddie know that this is coming inside here. You know, because d'Arnaud sets up so far inside so early. Like, there's got to be a way that you could tip that off to Freddie. Definitely, that caught a lot of plate.
Peter Borges will be intentionally walked with Adam Morgan on deck.
You can obviously only do that against catchers that move that early, but d'Arnaud is a guy that gets in there or out of there relatively early.
I was surprised, though, that d'Arnaud went in that early because he had been waiting so long to go out on some of those pitches. So Borges walks, and Morgan's coming up. He's 1 for 20 this year. 1 for 21, actually, after the strikeout his last time. Line drive into left field. That'll drop for a base hit. Odubel's around third, heading for home. The throw by Cespedes way offline, and the Phillies are on the board. It's a 2-1 ball game. Adam Morgan with his second hit of the year.
Well done. I'll see your intentional walk, and I'll take you to left.
That's exactly what he did, though. He took him to left field.
Yes, he did. Good swing there. Very good swing. See Sammy saying, come on, Odubel. I'm not going to stop you. Phil's cut the lead to 1.
And still with a runner in scoring position with Cesar Hernandez up.
That has to feel good for Adam. It just. I know strikeouts, probably striking somebody out feels good, but that's got to feel better than a strikeout. It's got to. I don't know.
I think it might depend on when the strikeout takes place.
Yeah, exactly.
Although he probably will have more strikeouts in a season than hits. So.
Yeah. You surprised they walked Peter?
I'm not.
No?
I think I would have done the same thing, honestly. And the only reason I say that is because he did get Adam Morgan fairly, pretty easily in his first at bat.
And the Mets have been struggling to score runs.
No, I think I would have, made a better pitch. In fact, I may have uncorked a slider or something in that at bat. Line drive towards center field, and Ruggiano is there. Well, he hit it right on the nose, but right at the center fielder. Phillies do get 1 in the inning on the base hit by Adam Morgan. They leave 2. We'll lead for the bottom of the 5th in a 1-run game. players smile when they came in to see what Carlos Ruiz had put up on the board before he left for Los Angeles. So smile, it's Friday, brought to you by Dominion National, providing innovative, high-value dental and vision benefits to area employers and individuals. Visit DominionNational.com. I will miss all of you guys. Good luck the rest of the season. Love you all. Chooch, gracias. It was Adam Morgan who provided the RBI that made it a 2-1 ball game in the top half of the 5th inning. A.J. Ellis is scheduled to be here tomorrow and will be in a Phillies uniform. He'll wear number 34 for the Phillies. And it was tough for A.J. Ellis to leave Los Angeles. He was a beloved figure. Obviously, Clayton Kershaw loved him. His ERA when Ellis was behind the plate was under 2. Phillies are losing a great guy, but they are getting a great guy in A.J. Ellis. And a guy that Yasmani Grandal attributes to his success calling pitches for the Dodgers as the everyday catcher. No balls, 1 strike to Bartolo Colon as we start the bottom of the 5th. And a line drive, base hit it to left center field. It gets by Altair. Colon cannot run, but he's going to get to second base, and he's there with his 2nd double of the year. Listen to how loud this place has got.
It's unbelievable, like they just won a playoff game. They're waving their Cespedes t-shirts. Well, he made a good attempt this time. And it's really not a bad swing. That's why sometimes he just looks awful on some pitches.
As if he's running a relay race.
That's station to station running.
Well, Jose Reyes the batter, and he bunts it foul. All right, now this is important here. I mean, you know, the fact that Colon got a double, I mean, in some ways is laughable, yes, but now if you're Adam Morgan, you got to put that aside because you've got Reyes, Cabrera, and Cespedes with a runner in scoring position. And you know, sometimes for a pitcher, they'll keep thinking about the pitch that they threw to the pitcher.
Yeah. Colon's probably thinking, Reyes, what are you doing, bunny? I just had to leg out a double. Now you're going to make me run again? I'll be gassed.
And by the way, I said he's in scoring position because physically he is, but it's going to take 2 hits to score him unless it's a ball into the gap or over the wall. Little spinner out toward first. That's going to drop in for a base hit. Colon will stop at 3rd. Reyes on his way to 2nd. And Peter Borges just tosses a grenade into the middle of the field. Back-to-back doubles for the Mets. Puts runners on 2nd and 3rd with nobody out.
Well, he does make a good pitch here. Unfortunately, goes against Adam Morgan. See Reyes well out in front. There's a lawn dart down the right field line. Peter has a little trouble with it right here.
You just want to make sure it drops.
Yeah, better safe than sorry.
Phillies will play the middle infielders halfway because if there is a ball hit hard, they can attempt to come home if Tim Tuffle sends Bartolo Colon.
Yeah, I think they're going to have to make it go through here.
I would agree with that.
I'd actually even play him back because you're going to be able to throw Bartolo Colon out at home plate on a little grounder.
Cespedes to third. Franco has it. Looks the runner back. 1 away.
And even on that ball, if that ball's hit a little bit harder, it's through and it's 2 runs. You know, whereas if Michael is back and Bartolo chances it for whatever reason, he's still going to be able to throw him out at home.
Cespedes is up.
And I think if you would have had a faster runner on third base, you would see that infield drawn in more. I mean, a faster run. I mean, any other runner is what I meant to say.
Well, here is Cespedes, who has 2 hits today. First base is open. He falls behind 2-0. You may hear the whistle from the dugout to walk him intentionally. Would you walk him intentionally here anyway?
Yes.
Just roll the dice with Walker?
Yeah. Especially after his first 2 at-bats. But that's why we're up here and Pete's down there.
Tapper back toward the middle. Colon is not going to go. They throw Cespedes out. That was a good pitch.
Excellent pitch.
2 outs. And now the infield can settle all the way back.
Ioannis was looking for a fastball in. I really do. I think he's probably thinking to himself, I'm not going to get anything to hit here. And he reaches for one.
Walker's 1 for 2. He grounded out to Cesar his first time up. And he singled his last time. Same concept here. You could walk him and pitch to Flores. Unless you think you can get him. Which is obviously what they do think.
Boy, this would be huge for Adam Morgan in the Phillies. Huge.
Fly ball toward right field. Borges, a long run in to foul territory. Howard's out there as well. And it falls between Howard, Hernandez, and Peter Borges. And then Kangaroos over the head of Mr. Met, which is hard to do. And it's 2-1.
A long run for everybody involved in that play.
Yeah, pretty good breeze going on right now on the field.
Thought that ball was going to have more of an angle on it.
Two and two.
He's gotten himself back into this count. This is where you want to make it happen.
comes the 2-2 pitch. A little tapper foul. This kind of goes back to what you were saying before about Adam Morgan's demeanor. Brought himself together a little bit after that double by Colon. He did give up the bloop double to Jose Reyes, but was not a bad pitch. But now he's gotten the last 2 hitters and has the count even 2-2 to Neil Walker in a 1-run game here in the bottom of the 5th.
Fastball away there. I was thinking need to go change up away, back foot a slider, something hard and hit the belt. I think if he goes hard in at the belt with that same velocity there at 93, I think you're going to get the 3rd out of this inning. But Cameron went out there, said, I want you to be 100% sure and have that conviction as to what pitch you want to throw right here, because this is a very pivotal and crucial part of the ballgame. You don't say that to the pitcher. I think he realizes that.
Behind Colon, in front of Tuffle, and it remains 2-2.
That was that slider there.
Just didn't get it all the way in.
And it was hard. It was 85 miles an hour. I think how hard he threw it really took the break out of it.
Well, this will be the 8th pitch of the at-bat. He's fouled off 5. With 2 in scoring position, the pitch. Outside 3-2. Colon's over at 3rd. Reyes is at 2nd. And that is Wilmer Flores who is on deck. Just off the outside corner. Walker wasn't sure, so he walks him. Not the worst thing in the world. Bases are loaded. Wilmer Flores is coming up. Well, Fan Appreciation Day is scheduled for Sunday, October 2nd. It's a 3:05 first pitch, and it's against the New York Mets. Come on out, final game of the regular season, and our chance to say thank you to the greatest fans in baseball. Plan for plenty of prizes and surprises. Get your tickets at Phillies.com.
10 pitch at bat there. You'd like to see Adam get out of that inning right there to Walker after expending 10 pitches. But it wasn't the worst thing that you walked and get Flores up.
Flores swung at the first pitch his last time up. He's 0 for 2. And he lifts that one in the air to left center field. Odubel Herrera on the run, out toward the wall. It is gone. A grand slam. And the Mets take a 6-1 lead. Well, you had to expect he was going to swing at the first pitch only because he did it in his last at-bat. He has runners in scoring position. The walk to Walker maybe wasn't the worst thing in the world, but that first pitch to Wilmer Flores certainly was.
Yeah, that's a backbreaker there. It's like a changeup that just cut back towards the middle of the plate.
3rd home run of the night surrendered by Morgan. And here's Jay Bruce. Third career grand slam for Flores. 1 ball and 1 strike to Bruce. Just too good of a pitch. This will be the 26th pitch of the inning for Morgan. You are right, though. As we mentioned, it wasn't the worst thing in the world for Walker to walk. However, it did take 10 pitches. Three balls, 2 strikes to Bruce.
And it's amazing how one pitch can really swing a ball game in one way or the other.
Oof. Swing and a miss. He has gotten Bruce 3 times in tonight's ball game. But Wilmer Flores picked up Asdrubal Cabrera and Cespedes and slammed a granny over the left center field wall. Of the week is still going strong as we head toward the final month of the season. Hector Neris started 2016 in command and has been solid the whole way through. His first half was high quality, and since the All-Star break he has been fantastic, only allowing opponents to bat in the mid-100s, and his ERA is well below 1. He's among the best NL relievers in games, strikeouts, innings, ERA, and it's brought to you by Independence Blue Cross. Live fearless. Well, Wilmer Flores' grand slam has opened things up for the Mets. They lead at 6-1 as we go to the top half of the 6th inning. Mentioned the Mets are 3.5 games out in the wild card, coming off a 5-5 road trip. Here's Aaron Altair, and the pitch is in there. It's a strike. Alejandro De Aza's come on to play center field. How about the catch he made in last night's game against the Cardinals in center field?
Has Ruggiano got hurt?
I guess so. Unless this is more for defense. Over to third base. Reyes is up with it. With 1 out, here is Maikel Franco. 75 pitches for Bartolo Colon, who has won 19 games here at Citi Field, which is second only to Jonathan Neese. As you see his splits right along what we talked about. 89% of his pitches are fastballs tonight. Franco has popped out and he's grounded out to shortstop.
Check the end of that bat after that one. He uses a cup bat, went right off the end there. Sometimes he'll get a sliver in it, a crack in it, and it'll extend down into the barrel.
Doesn't sound cracked.
Nope.
Little bloop out towards center field. Here comes De Aza, and he'll cover a lot of ground to make that catch. 2 outs. And that brings us to our Citizens Bank minor league report. Citizens Bank, the next time you have a question about money, don't keep it to yourself. Ask a citizen. Well, the Gulf Coast League Phillies, we don't always talk about them, but look at the records for 3 of these guys. They're combined 19-1 with a 1.26 ERA. And the Gulf Coast League Phillies are 41-14, which is the best record in the Gulf Coast. Fanti, a left-hander. Sanchez, a right-hander, 0.50 ERA. And Ybarra, a 1.88 earned run average.
It's not fair.
Total domination. All right, Howard takes inside and low, 1-0. Herman starts to warm up in the bullpen. Way out front is Ryan Howard. On the Toyota Major League scoreboard down in Miami, the Padres lead the Marlins 4-2. Luis Sardinas, we did not see him when the Phillies played the Padres last. A 3-run double. Marlins are ahead of the Mets in the wild card standings. Swing and a miss, a high fastball. 92 miles an hour. Howard strikes out. And that is a shutdown inning for Bartolo Colon. 1-2-3 go the Phils. We head to the bottom of the 6th. Mets up by 5. Valley Honda dealers. Hurry to your local Del Val Honda dealer or visit DelValHondaDealers.com. By the Pennsylvania Lottery's new instant game, Wonder Bucks. Players must be 18 or older. Please play responsibly. And by WB Mason. You can't go wrong when you buy right. Adam Morgan's night is done. Turned out to be a less than stellar evening for the Phillies lefty. He allowed 8 hits over 5 innings, 6 runs, all earned. 2 walks. He did strike out 8. Frank Herman will take over here in the bottom of the 6th inning. .91 pitches. By the way, our buddy Matt Stairs posted this on Facebook with a great picture about Carlos Ruiz. Good luck, Chooch, in L.A. One of the best teammates I had the privilege to play with. And Murph, obviously the players have had 24 hours to sort of digest it, but that still did not stop them from talking glowingly about Carlos Ruiz.
Not at all. You know, it's funny as the guys get ready for a game sometimes, you know, having conversations is not the first thing that's on their mind. But today, when talking with the media, talking with me as I walked around the clubhouse, asking guys for their reaction to the trade and their thoughts about Carlos Ruiz, everybody you talk to would just instantly want to share a moment or two or a thought about Carlos Ruiz. And, you know, you'd be hard pressed to find a guy that is not that it was a player that played with Carlos Ruiz and did not have a glowing report as a teammate. The one thing that, whether it be Freddie Galvis that I talked to, or Cameron, or Tyler Goodell, some of the guys that I spoke with, the one word they consistently used, and Pete Mackanin used it as well in our pregame interview, is leadership. And, you know, so many times you talk about guys who are leaders on the field, and in baseball that's an important part of it. But Carlos was the kind of guy that just led in every aspect, whether it be the way he went about doing his work, which a lot of the guys talked about how they emulated. They watched the way he did it and watched what he did and how he went about it. But not only that, but how he treated the other people, not only in the clubhouse, but the members of the media and folks that are in the front office and the staff as well. Carlos kind of did everything right. And, you know, his numbers as a ball player speak for themselves. But what he was able to do off the field, I think, is what's going to have the biggest impact for years and years and years on the guys inside that clubhouse that did get a chance to play with him.
I think that's well said, Murph. I think in a lot of ways we all felt that way. And by the way, the Phillies sent out last night after the trade on Twitter a video tribute to Carlos Ruiz.
Excellent.
It was fantastic. And it talked about, or the video showed, a lot of the great moments he was part of. The perfect game for Roy Halladay, the no-hitter by Roy Halladay in the postseason. The highlights we showed you from the World Series. 3 balls and 2 strikes to De Aza. Outside ball 4, so he draws the leadoff walk.
And Tom, if I could just jump back in one more minute with a personal note. I remember when I joined the team in 2012 as the field reporter, and you know, came down to spring training for the very first time and met a couple of folks. Obviously met with you guys first, but when I went into the clubhouse that first morning that I was there, Greg Castriato brought me into the clubhouse, kind of showing me around where everything was. I had been around the team, covering them, of course, back in Philadelphia, but not a part of the organization. And the very first player that came over and said, "Welcome to the organization," was Carlos Ruiz. I'm sure he will not remember that, but I certainly do. And, you know, he had that smile on his face that he always does. He put his hand out. He shook everybody's hand, always looked them right in the eye, shook his hand, and he said, "Welcome to the organization." And to me, you know, he had always been a guy that I had admired anyway as a ball player, but that really, you know, notched him up in my book even further, and he'll certainly stay there for a long time.
Yeah, I don't think there's any question that when he does eventually come back to Philadelphia, he is going to get a similar response than what Chase Utley received and what Jimmy Rollins received.
Yes.
And Pat Burrell, I just think that he meant an awful lot to a lot of different people. As d'Arnaud takes outside, 1 ball, 1 strike.
You know, Murph, you bring up a great point in the fact that he would shake your hand and look in the eye. I think shaking the hands is such a lost art, and it saddens me because no one shakes your hand anymore. You know, it just, I can't stand it, for one thing.
Shaking hands?
No, I can't stand that. It's a lost art.
I agree.
And you know, he did it every time he saw you, looked in the eye. You know, and it made you feel good. He always had a big smile on his face.
Pete Mackanin was talking to the assembled media today, and, you know, he was talking about his memories of Chooch and his relationship with Chooch, and he said, you know, I really think
that ball goes by Borges toward the wall. Here comes De Aza. He's going to score, and d'Arnaud will stop at second with an RBI double.
Leadoff walk. This field is playing fast tonight.
Sure is.
Balls are getting down on the grass, and they're just scooting.
Well, Bartolo's up. Murph, that gives us a chance for you to recall what Pete said today to the assembled media.
Yeah, thanks. So he was just talking to the media, and he said, you know, I really think that when Carlos decides that it's all done for him on the playing field, that, you know, that there's probably a good chance that the organization, the Phillies organization, will ask him back to be a part of the organization going forward. And then he stopped and thought, and he said, well, that'd be great unless they bring him back as the manager. I wouldn't like that so much. But that was Pete Mackanin being Pete Mackanin. And that, I guess, was Bartolo Colon being Bartolo Colon tonight.
Yeah, his first 2-hit game since 2002. I guess everybody that comes up to the plate with a bat in their hand is a hitter. I can't believe he's got 2 hits tonight.
And both hit well, too.
Yep. So runners on first and third. Nobody out. Here in the bottom of the 6th inning, Reyes the batter. And he whacked that one off Cameron Rupp's mask. 0-1. Reyes right-handed, 2 for 3 tonight.
Reyes a bit older, but still runs very well. Tough to double up.
Fly ball left center field. Darno tagging. Altair is under it, makes the catch. Here comes the throw to the plate. Darno's going to challenge him on one hop, and Cameron Rupp hangs on yet again. The first out of the inning was the catch. The second out was the loudest. It was Cameron Rupp hanging on the throw by Aaron Altair that honestly looked like it died when it hit the grass, but he still stood his ground.
Yeah, this is an excellent play here. Smart by Odubel to let Aaron take this, having the stronger arm. Very accurate throw. I don't know what Darno was trying to accomplish with that.
Well, the throw did take Cameron Rupp into the baseline. If you're wondering about the whether he was able to block the plate or not, or why he was there, he was on the first base side where you normally are in front of the plate, and then the throw took him into the baseline.
I think Darno had every intention of sliding towards the outside part of the plate until Cameron took it away. He had to take it away because of the throw. Well done by Aaron Altair. Obviously well done by Cameron Rupp.
Yeah, I think it was good too that Altair called off Herrera and made the catch. Cabrera takes down low.
I just said that Reyes was hard to double up. That was typically where the catchers are going to set up. They line that left foot up down the third base line, but the throw takes him on that side and braces himself. That's not a battle that Darno is going to win.
2-1.
Plays like that as a catcher, they don't feel good, obviously physically, but what you feel inside, it's just, it's really hard to describe. Being able to pick your teammates up like that, and you get such a feeling of accomplishment when that happens. And the thing is, you can't really plan for it. It's not like you're saying, well, if this, okay, Aaron Altair catches this ball, Cameron Rupp's not thinking, well, if I do this, I can really make this play, look good. It's something that happens.
But is it running through your head as the throw's coming in that, all right, there's going to be a collision here. I got to make sure I hold on. I got to get my bearings straight.
Yeah, I mean, you're honestly in plays like that, my first instinct was catch the ball, bury the runner.
And in this day and age where a catcher really can't bury the runner.
No.
Unless it's that kind of a play, or the one we saw him make earlier this year with Tyler Goodell's throw.
Yeah, and it's not like I wouldn't say it's like I don't think Cameron Rupp is that guy that's out to hurt anybody. I didn't have that linebacker mentality where I just want to, I just want to kill you and take your head off. But as the play develops, you turn into that player. As the play develops, that's what you develop into.
A high fly ball to deep right field. Gorgeous going back to the fence, and it is gone. Second home run of the night for Asdrubal Cabrera. A 2-run shot. 9-1. Mets on top.
And this one from the left side of the plate for Asdrubal Cabrera. Pretty much in the same spot he hit his right-handed home run.
Mets have out-homered the Phils 21-4 in the 10 games this season, including tonight. There's been a barrage tonight.
Oh boy, that ball was elevated. He did not miss it.
Cespedes to shallow right field. The inning finally comes to a close. Cespedes follows Cabrera's 2-run home run. 3-run score for the Mets in the inning. Time now for your Delaware Valley Honda dealers game summary. Well, the Mets are coming out hitting some home runs here tonight. Wilmer Flores, a grand slam, as Asdrubal Cabrera has 2 homers, a 2-run shot and a solo shot. Jose Reyes has a home run tonight, and it's 9-1. Mets on top. 7 runs in the last 2 innings, and oh yeah, Bartolo Colon has allowed 2 hits and 1 earned run through 6 innings, and he's about to begin the 7th for the Mets. Cameron Rupp pops the first pitch up into shallow right field. Jay Bruce. Time now for the Jeep Stuff the Fans Trivia Quiz answer. All right, Ben, here we go. Which Phillies pitcher did Noah Syndergaard hit his first major league home run off?
That would be Sean O'Sullivan.
Sean O'Sullivan is correct on May 27, 2015. Log back on to Phillies.com to find out if you're the winner of a Phillies prize pack.
I do remember that ball, like you said, going right off that railing leading up to the stands, right above the city sign, right just to the left of straightaway center field.
2 to Herrera. Swing and a miss. He went after a high fastball at 91 miles an hour. Well, Bartolo Colon is now retired. 6 consecutive hitters.
Climb the ladder. Much like what he did with Ryan Howard to end the last inning.
Severino Gonzalez warming up. Freddie Galvis takes high. 1 ball, no strikes.
This will be the 90th pitch for Colon.
And a liner to right field. Jay Bruce came in, reaches up, makes the catch. Pitch number 90 produces the 3rd out of the inning. 1, 2, 3 go the Phils. 5-pitch inning in the 1st, 7-pitch inning here in the 7th. It's 9-1. Mets on top. Arena Bowl, so we'll keep an eye on that. 9-1 Mets, bottom of the 7th inning. Time for our cold hard fact, brought to you by Clean Crisp Coors Light. Our cold hard fact: most home runs as a second baseman in a single season for the Mets. Neil Walker has 22. He is 3rd behind Edgardo Alfonso, who did it twice, 27 and 25 in 99 and 2000. As Walker leads it off. Jeff Kent was here early in his career. As his career moved on, he had a lot more home runs, most ever, by a second baseman.
Boy, were those 2 tough outs. Fonzie and Kent.
Edgardo Alfonso, we talk about, you know, the professional hitter. That's what he was.
He was.
So going to miss 0-2.
I think you can relate him to like a Martin Prado, but with a little more pop.
Off the hands, bloop toward left. Galvis out, Altair in, and Altair makes the running grab. Very athletic play. One away, and Wilmer Flores the batter.
Just his jumps, his reads. Very rarely will you see Aaron freeze on a ball. You know, decide whether it's going to be hit shallow or hit deeper than he thought. He goes with his instinct.
That's why moving forward, the Phillies aren't sure where he'll play every day, whether it be center field, right field, or left field. But that's it. They know he can play all three of the outfield positions. Tied him up, and he's down on strikes. 2 outs here in the 7th. And here's Jay Bruce, who's had a tough night. He's 0 for 3. Herman's just coming out firing fastballs in this inning. Two balls, 2 strikes to Bruce.
Boy, does he want to put one in play here.
Big time. He does not. He strikes out for the 4th time in this ball game. We mentioned that they were booing him earlier, even though they have a 9-1 lead. They're booing him even louder now. On to the 8th. Phillies trail it by 8. The annual clearance sale is going on now. Toyota, let's go places. By Jefferson. Call 800-JEFF now or visit jefferson.edu. And by Chevrolet. Visit your local dealer at chevydealer.com. 9-1 Mets on top. Top of the 8th inning. Bartolo Colon will face Peter Borges, and then Jimmy Paredes, who's up as a pinch hitter. Just firing strikes, one after another. Over toward first, knocked off the heel of the glove of Wilmer Flores. And Peter Borges has a base hit.
Just the third of the evening.
Brady's hitting .226 with 5 home runs and 14 runs batted in. Bartolo Colon, the all-time winningest pitcher, born in the Dominican Republic. He passed Pedro Martinez earlier this season. He reminded everybody when he passed Pedro that he's not as good as Pedro.
Not many were.
Line drive, base hit to left for Paredes. And the Phils are the first 2 batters aboard.
Pedro was the best I ever faced. Period.
Really?
Period.
Dan Worthen out on the phone. And here's Cesar Hernandez. So the Mets will get somebody up in the pen. Hansel Robles is starting to throw. Severino will continue to throw in the pen for the Phils.
It's going to be tough for the Phillies to get back in this ballgame. Obviously down by 8 runs, but you know, if they can get a little bit of momentum, offensive momentum, going into tomorrow's ballgame, knowing they're going to get up against Syndergaard, and you'd like to have a little bit of offensive momentum going into that ballgame.
Yeah, because even with all the problems the Mets have had pitching-wise, he has not really been a problem.
No,
for them.
It's no easy task.
Now, after tomorrow, they're not really sure what they're going to get moving forward, because Matz comes off on Tuesday, but they're going to shut DeGrom down for 1 start. Out toward left center field. Diaz is on the run. He's not going to get it. It's a 1-hop off the wall. 1 run is in. Here comes Paredes. He's going to score. It's a 2-run opposite field double for Cesar Hernandez. It's now a 9-3 ball game.
Boy, was that a good piece of hitting, much like he did in Chicago the other night. I'm sorry, he did at home in his 3-hit bid against the Cardinals. But that's an excellent job of hitting, but an excellent job of base running by Jimmy Paredes. I mean, he was right on the heels of Peter Borges. Ball gets down and Paredes scores with ease. See how close he is to Peter, and we all know how fast Peter is. That's a great read by Jimmy.
Well, Dan Worthen is out now to talk to Bartolo Colon. That's going to give Robles a little more time to get himself ready. 3 runs now for the Phils on 5 base hits. Tomorrow on Quick Slants, CSNPhilly.com, Eagles insider Reuben Frank reports live from Indianapolis before the Eagles face the Colts in preseason action. Watch Quick Slants tomorrow night at 6, only on CSN. Aaron Altair takes inside.
Be the 100th pitch for Bartolo. I mean, it is the 8th inning, but he might be a little winded. He spent some time on the bases tonight. Had to run a little bit more than he's used to. and he's 43.
The ball went off the umpire, Angel Hernandez, behind the plate. So d'Arnaud gives him a little extra time. And a liner out toward right center field. Diaz is not going to get that one. It's going to go to the wall, and the Phils will get another run. Altair will pull into second with an RBI double. 9-4. The lead is down to 5, and that's probably going to be it for Bartolo Colon. 4 straight hits for the Phillies to start the inning.
And no cheapies.
And here comes Terry Collins. Collins out to get his right-hander, and he's going to get a standing ovation. So Colon will exit. He can do no wrong. We've got a pitching change here in New York. Still nobody out. And again, the Phillies down by 5. Defensive play of the game. Cameron Rupp, well, getting roughed up a little bit on this double play ball.
Yes, he does. Reyes flies out to Aaron Altair. He gets under it, makes a very strong one hop. Cameron Rupp, Travis d'Arnaud. Cameron Rupp says no. Nice play all the way around. Cameron takes the brunt of it, but that is your Hyundai defensive play of the game, brought to you by your local Hyundai dealers.
Well, here is Hansel Robles, who will take over. He has had a rough month of August. His earned run average overall 4.06. So from June 21st to August 1st, he had an ERA of 1.29, just 3 earned runs in 21 innings. It was 5-0. Well, since that time, he has allowed 14 earned runs in 11 innings of work here in the month of August. And he will face Maikel Franco with a runner at second base. Phillies down 5. Maikel is trying to make this a 3-run game with that first swing. Popped him up. Flores over near the Mets dugout, and so is d'Arnaud, and d'Arnaud runs into the bar in the Mets dugout, and it's 0-2.
There's an awful lot of foul territory here, especially behind home plate, going down towards the line.
So D'Arnaud goes back. Franco celebrating his 24th birthday today. Maybe he can celebrate it with a 2-run home run or at least an RBI to get Altair home and keep this train moving. Phillies only 2 hits through the first 7 innings. They've been able to pick up 4 hits and 3 runs here in the 8th.
This came to a screeching halt, didn't it?
Sure did.
No rush out there.
Ground ball up the third base line. Reyes charges and it goes right off his fingertips. Altair trying for third, and he is out at third base. He just can't do that. 6 unassisted to get Altair. You got a rally going. You're in scoring position already. You can't make the first, second, or third out at third base on a play like that. You just can't.
The heck of a play by Cabrera just to back that ball up. That he's even in the vicinity. Just does get him. Would have been a close play at first base on Franco.
Well, instead of an infield hit on Franco, it turns out to be a fielder's choice. I don't think Altair's hand ever got to the bag. So 1 away. Here's Ryan Howard. Takes outside. 1 ball, no strikes.
How can it be a fielder's choice? There's no one occupied first base.
It doesn't matter. The fielder made a choice to make the tag at third.
Yeah, but Franco would have been safe at first base.
But it's a continuous play as it's written in the rules. I don't make them up.
It's 2 hits he's lost this year.
Swing and a miss.
Both
ball,
due
1 strike.
to Aaron Altair.
Yeah, I mean, when I say it's a continuous play, the runner going from second to third is happening after the ball goes under Reyes' glove, but he's moving a little bit. Now they may look at it and say, all right, it's a separate play, but
that's what I think.
The way the rule is that it's continuous play. High fly ball to left, not deep. De Aza is under it, so is Cespedes. It'll be Cespedes who makes the call. 2 outs. Franco back to first.
And the other one I was referring to was against the Giants. Bases loaded. Aaron Altair was on first. Michael hit a clean single to center. Never touches second base to end the ball game. Picked it up in right field. I forget who that was. It was Hunter Pence.
Right.
Picked it up, came in, tagged second. So that ends up being a fielder's choice force out at second.
Cameron Rupp is the hitter. Rupp is 0 for 3. 0-2. Addison Reed is warming up in the bullpen. Way outside. You can see why he's had issues. I mean, his mechanics. Oof.
Seems like he wants to go harder and harder.
Franco goes and pitches foul at the plate. And Franco will head back and they'll do it again. Here in the top of the 8th inning, Phillies have scored 3. I do believe d'Arnaud may have broken his glove. So we'll have to go to his backup glove. Did you ever leave it in the dugout, your backup glove, or is it always in the clubhouse?
I always had 2 mitts on me. Always.
I would think that would make sense that there was one in the dugout. But it looks like d'Arnaud has to run up the stairs. Now the Mets clubhouse is down the far stairs, and it's about 30 feet to the left. So here he comes.
That's not even his, it's Rene Rivera's. d'Arnaud uses a Mizuno. This is an all-star mitt. That's probably not going to make Mizuno very happy. Can't believe he doesn't have another mitt out here.
Runner goes again. And pitch is fouled again. And Cameron will do it one more time. Franco goes back to first. Phillies scored 3 runs on 4 hits to start the inning. Nobody out. Little dribbler up the third base line by Maikel Franco. Was off the fingertips of Reyes. Altair was tagged out at third on the play. Howard then flied out to left. Swing and a miss. He got him with some high cheese. 97 on that fastball. Phillies settle for the 3 runs. They inch closer. They leave 1. We played 7.5 on to the bottom of the 8th. 9-4. Mets on top. 12 for Bruce Springsteen and the E Street Band. It was the 17th studio album for the boss. And a reminder that Bruce and the E Street Band will be bringing the River Tour to Citizens Bank Park on Wednesday, September 7th and Friday, September 9th. New inventory of great seats have just been released for both shows. Tickets are available starting at $68 and can be purchased by visiting Phillies.com/Springsteen, who was appearing about a half hour away at the Meadowlands again last night, nearly 4 hours again. He'll be back at the Meadowlands this Tuesday. And from all accounts, both shows, or all the shows here in New Jersey have been, or in New Jersey, were outstanding. Tommy Joseph takes over at first as Severino Gonzalez takes over on the mounds. Alejandro De Aza has the count, 1 ball and 1 strike. 2 innings for Frank Herman, 3 hits, 3 runs. Severino 1-2, a 4.28 ERA. Diaz is actually trying to battle for some more playing time. He's hitting only 196, 5 home runs, but he has been better lately. We mentioned his defense has been excellent. In fact, next year, if they wind up losing Cespedes, he could be part of a platoon out in center field with Lagares. Taps it foul. Opposite way, Aaron Altair going back. He's under it. And 1 out here in the bottom of the 8th inning. Time to get updated on what's going on around baseball. Here's Greg Murphy.
All right, thank you very much, Tom. It is our greater coverage of baseball presented by T-Mobile. And the Orioles, well, they're having a rough night across New York City. They're playing in the Bronx against the New York Yankees. Right now they are trailing 14-3 in that game. But to make matters worse, they lost their center fielder, Adam Jones, to a hamstring injury. He actually got injured last night, but came out today, thought he could play with the injury. They thought maybe it was just a cramp last night, tested it out before the game. Only lasted 1 inning, so he is checked out of that game. And to make matters worse, also in that game, well, not worse for the Yankees, but Gary Sanchez, their rookie catcher, who has just been on fire since being called up to the New York Yankees. Well, he hit his 10th home run already this season in 22 games. He has 10 home runs in 22 games. That's the 3rd fastest to 10 home runs in baseball history. He's also the first player ever to have 10 home runs and 20 RBIs in his first 20 games as a Major League ball player as well. So he continues to stay red hot in the Bronx, guys.
Yeah, red hot. I mean, thinking about what he did in the minor leagues before being called up, he played in 71 games for Scranton. He had 10 home runs. And as Murph said, this is his 20th game in the big leagues, and he now has 10 home runs.
Amazing.
How does it happen?
He's found that stroke.
Two balls and 2 strikes to Darno. Popped it up. Tommy Joseph gives it a peek. So does Cameron Rupp, and it's out of play. Phillies half of the 9th inning. It'll be Herrera, Galvis, and Borges, and then the number 9 spot. That's Tommy Joseph now. Darno checks his swing. No swing, says the first base umpire, Will Little. If you're wondering whether Pete Mackanin will give Jorge Alfaro an at-bat tonight, he said he wasn't sure. He said it would be hard because he's the backup catcher, but depending on what the score was, said he could roll the dice and have Manny Burris as the backup just in case. As d'Arnaud goes down swinging, 2 outs. He may go down tomorrow, Alfaro. In fact, that's the perceived plan. Yeah. He's going to be back up at some point. I'll tell you what stood out to me today, talking to Alfaro, and it stood out in spring training too. He's a big kid.
Yes, he is. Yes, he is. And he can run. He's a heck of an athlete.
He's listed at 6'2". He does look taller than that. Swing and a miss by Granderson, the pinch hitter, hitting .279 this year with 13 homers and 61 RBIs for Dusty Wathan and the Reading Fightins. Down the left field line, out of play, 0-2.
That is something. Look up at that scoreboard. 20 homers, 34 RBIs.
Inside, 2-2. Swing and a miss, and Gonzalez works a 1-2-3 8th inning. 7 in a row retired by Phillies pitching, but a lot of the damage is already done. Last chance for the Phils. We head to the 9th. Phillies trail at 9-4. The 9th inning, last chance for them. Every time the Phillies pitchers retire, the opposition 1-2-3. Comcast will make a contribution to Phillies charities. Phillies baseball is brought to you by Xfinity. Xfinity X1 will change the way you experience TV. Sean Gilmartin will take over for the Mets as we go to the 9th inning. And Gilmartin will face Odubel Herrera to start it off. Gilmartin, an 8.10 ERA. This is his 7th game. By the way, today is also the anniversary of a big comeback for the Phillies back in August of 2008. August 26th, obviously, is today's date. And on that day, Phillies were trailing 7-0 to the Mets at Citizens Bank Park, but came back and won it 8-7. Chris Coast went 4 for 4 that day after entering the game in the 8th inning as a pinch hitter. And he delivered a walk-off single in the bottom of the 13th. And that put the Phillies back in first place in 08 by a half game. Remember the collapse of the Mets in 07. Phillies came from behind to win it in September. Well, they had to come from behind to win it again in 2008. Angel Hernandez is pointing to Terry Collins and asking him to come out to the mound. This is interesting. Looks like he cut himself. And Ray Ramirez, the Mets athletic trainer, comes out as well.
The super glue out.
Oh, wow, on a thumb. From spinning a breaking ball?
I guess.
I saw Rich Hill, who was acquired by the Dodgers, have the blister of all blisters.
Yeah.
And I think it was his thumb. And he missed a few starts and finally was able to pitch the other day. They're going to take him out of this ball game. Oh, man, how about this? They're going to bring Jeurys Familia in a 5-run game. Talk about a guy that's sort of tuckered out to a certain extent.
I think Gil Martin wants to stay in. He just
I think he does. Yeah.
not able to because of getting blood on the ball. I guess that would be considered a foreign substance.
Well, I guess they're going to make a decision on it depending on what Ray Ramirez can do with it. If he can super glue it and see if he can throw.
Hope they don't make him go change his pants now.
Because there's blood on it?
Because there's blood on it.
Maybe if they just have him promise that he won't come in contact with the player. He's not allowed to cover first. All right, so he's going to try to stay in. Well, depending on what the bullpen situation is, I don't know if I would have Familia warm it up. Probably put somebody else. It's a 5-run game. I know we're just a couple runs away from it being a save situation.
You'd think that.
Outside, 1 ball, 1 strike.
Maybe Terry Collins is thinking, hey, we're 3 games out of the wild card. I'm going to get every victory I can.
Yeah, I hear it.
How many times have we heard Pete Mackanin say that this year? Pete, why did you do that? I just wanted to win the game.
And he has said that. You're right.
He has. The only thing I'm concerned about is winning the ball game.
Swing and a miss. Boy, if you're Odubel, you got to be a little more aware of the fact that the guy's got a blister on his finger and he's having trouble finding the strike zone with those first 2 pitches. I know you already had 1 strike, but
yeah, but to take a swing like that in a 2-1 pitch.
2 balls, 2 strikes. Lays off 3-2. Mets trail the wild card by 3.5. Pittsburgh is 2.5 out of the second wild card. They're scoreless against Milwaukee right now. Miami is a 1.5 games out. And a little floater over the head of Jose Reyes. A base hit for Odubel Herrera. Odubel with his 2nd hit of the night. And here's Freddie Galvis. Now don't forget, coming up right after the ball game, Ricky Bowe will provide his expert analysis of tonight's game. Only on Pure Auto Insurance presents Phillies Post Game Live right here on CSN.
I get on Odubel about taking that swing, then he does it and gets a hit with it. That'll teach me.
Freddie tonight is 0 for 3. He's hit an 8 of 9. 7 for 39 against the Mets this year. But it's 1 ball and no strikes. Just a little out front of that one. 1-1. A little out front of that one as well. Boxed by d'Arnaud, and that'll enable Herrera to get up to second base. That pass ball is the 4th of the year for Travis d'Arnaud. Well, the Philadelphia Soul are the Arena League champions. A 56-42 win over Arizona. Arizona's been rather dominant since that league opened up. But the Soul walk away with another championship. Congratulations to Jaws and all the folks involved with the Soul. 3 balls and 2 strikes to Galvis.
d'Arnaud is still using Rene Rivera's glove.
It looked like he just changed again. It looked like he may have started with the other one. He just went over to the dugout and switched it again. Galvis lifts it in the air down the left field line over toward the tarp. And out of play.
The thing is, they're so drastic in style. I mean, d'Arnaud uses a big, and I mean a big catcher's mitt. Rivera's not so much.
Ball 4. Well, Terry Collins is wasting no time. He is walking out. It's more like a stomp out to the mound. And he will lift Gil Martin. And he will go to Familia. So pitching change. Phillies down by 5. They have runners on first and second. Nobody out here in the top of the 9th. Here at the top of the 9th inning after scoring 3 runs in the 8th inning, but Jeurys Familia, the closer for the Mets, is warming up out on the mound. Saturday, September 17th, when the Phillies take on the Miami Marlins, all fans 15 and older, thanks to the good folks at Hers, will receive the Phillies Aviator hat. Get your tickets now by going to Phillies.com. You can also check out what the aviator hat looks like. Right, going to Phillies.com. Here's Peter Borges against Familia, who has a 2.75 ERA. Surprisingly, he has allowed his fair share of base runners. First half of the year, lights out.
Yeah.
Unhittable. But he does lead the league in saves with 42. In fact, he's tops in the majors at 43 last year.
And that really came out of nowhere. He was inserted into that role.
He was a great setup guy. Borges waves the first one. That came in at 97. That's bullpen has an ERA of just under 7 in their last 14 games. As Borges fouls it back. Phillies were able to score 3 runs in the 8th inning, but those runs were charged to the line of Bartolo.
I just don't know how you make a ball sink that much at 97 miles an hour.
That's what made him so tough. He had 52 consecutive saves converted at one point.
I mean, it's just straight down.
You talk about making a pitcher get his pitches up. You fall behind 0-2. It's hard to let that one go by. So now Tommy Joseph up for the first time.
Much like what Zach Britton does for the Orioles, their closer. Obviously, Zach from the left side.
Ground ball back toward the mound. Familia goes to second, and they were able to get Galvis. 1-6 on the putout, and there are 2 outs. A fielder's choice for Tommy Joseph. Cesar a little indecisive at 96. And it's 0-1. Boy, tough pitch.
Well, it has so much sinking action to it, and you have to start to get it going a little bit sooner because of his velocity. And the bottom falls out of it, and you swing over top of it.
Oh, 1 is up high. 1 ball, 1 strike. Two strikes to Hernandez with runners on first and third here at the top of the 9th inning. Stays alive, gets a piece of it. knows the story. His team has to hop over 3 teams in order to get the number 2 spot for the wild card. And now the 1-2 pitch again to Cesar. Way inside, 2-2. Both World Series participants from a year ago, the Royals and the Mets, maybe on the outside looking in here in 2016. Hard to repeat physically and mentally. That'll start Tommy Joseph off the first base bag with his next pitch. Herrera's at third, Joseph's at first. Little tapper back to the mound. Should do it. Familia flips it underhand, and the ball game is over. The Phillies do kick up a little bit of dust here in the 9th inning, but are unable to score. They leave a couple. And the Mets win game 1 by a final score of 9-4. Once again, the Mets and Bartolo Colon are able to beat the Phillies. Phillies have a tough time trying to solve the big Mets right-hander. Our Chevrolet players of the game is Asdrubal Cabrera and Wilmer Flores. Cabrera with 2 home runs. He now has 15. And Wilmer Flores, a grand slam. That really did bust this game open and helped lead the Mets to the victory. Here is our W.B. Mason delivery of the game. First pitch from Adam Morgan in the 5th inning to Wilmer Flores.
It's a changeup down. It cuts back over the middle part of the plate, and he did not miss it. Had his way with Flores the first couple of bats, but not on this 3rd at bat. Comes after the curtain call. That is your W.B. Mason delivery of the game.
So Terry Collins' team for a moment are 3 games out of the 2nd wild card spot in the National League. They win at 9-4. We'll be back to wrap it up right after this.